All right there. Hello, Stucklings. So let's work on some techniques on how to study. First thing we're going to work on are flashcards. You're going to start with one word of your vocabulary list and work through either 5 or 10 words total. Doing less than 5, you're really not studying. Doing more than 10, you wind up kind of hitting towards that burnout. So if you've never studied before, at least start with 5 words. If you're used to studying, then you know stop at 10, give yourself a break. So each word of your vocabulary list is going to go on a separate card. Index cards, whether it's a piece of paper or an index card, it doesn't matter. And each word's going to go on a separate card, and you put Spanish on the front and English on the back. And I want you to stay consistent. If you're using index cards, always keep the red line up at the top. It's a visual cue. If you're using index cards, either do the Spanish always on the line side or always on the blank side. Obviously, if you're using construction paper or strips of notebook paper, it doesn't matter. But you want to be consistent because you're keeping your eyes cued to a visual cue. So what you're going to do is you're going to say the Spanish word aloud as you write it on the front of the card. So you're visually looking at the word and you're seeing it. You're saying the word out loud to yourself and you're writing it. On the other side of the card, you're going to say the English word aloud, or you could say the Spanish word aloud again as you draw a picture of the word. Lots of people are divided as to whether or not you should do Spanish and English. If you're a speaker of another language, you could do Spanish in your own language, whether it's Arabic or Dari or Farsi or Pashto. But either Spanish on one side and English on the other, or Spanish on one side and another language on the other, or Spanish on one side and a picture on the other. Many people will tell you they prefer a picture on the other side. That way you're only focusing on learning the Spanish and you're not associating it with any other language. You want to hold the card with the Spanish word facing you, and you want to say the word and flip it over and look at the English and say the English, or say the Spanish word and look at the picture, but you're going to do it a total of 3 times. Then you're going to make another card. So you do that process for either 5 cards or 10 cards. Spanish on one side, English on the other, or Spanish on one side and a picture on the other, but you're going to say it 3 times and flip it and look at it 3 times before you go on to the other. So let's actually give this a practice. So in Spanish 2, we're studying Cuando era niño, when I was a child, and in Spanish 1, I believe we're studying the house and parts of that. It doesn't really matter as long as you have a technique. So here we go. Let me get my pen up. And I said to be consistent, so let's make sure that I always put my Spanish on this one side. And in Spanish 1, we are doing a house. So I'm going to draw a picture, or not. Here we go. And I'm going to write La Casa. Now, if this was an index card, this would be on one side and this would be on the other. And I'd flip it back and forth. And I'd say it and look at it. La casa. La casa. La casa. And then I'd make another card. Now I want to be consistent, so I'm going to keep my picture over here. I'm going to keep my Spanish over here. Contento, contenta, contento, contenta. Contento, contento, contenta. And again, if this was an index card, I'd have one on one side, one on the other. And I'm going to say it and flip it 3 times. Contento, contenta, contento, contenta, contento, contenta, contento, contenta, till I really feel like I've got it. So remember, the technique is to start with one word and go through either 5 or 10. Notice that each word is on a separate card. Here's one side, here's the other. La casa and a picture. Contento, contenta, and a picture. You want to say the Spanish word as you write it, and either draw a picture or say the Spanish word as you draw a picture. Then you want to hold the card with the Spanish word facing you. You say the Spanish, flip it over, look at the other side. Do it a total of 3 times. Now, once you've made either 5 or 10 cards, then you need to quiz yourself. You need to hold up the Spanish side and see if you can guess what it means. If you get it right, put it in a pile. If you get it wrong, put it in another pile. It's kind of going through your stack. The ones that you get right, hey, you know. The ones that are, quote, in the wrong pile are the ones you need to study. Go back and study those. Then, here's another trick. See what it says, hold up the Spanish side? Now, go through and see if you can hold up the English side and guess the Spanish. All right, that's flashcards in a nutshell. Do your best, have fun, let's learn.